Mind control. Just saying the words, it sounds like something straight out of a spy movie, doesn't it? But what if I told you these techniques are not only real, but maybe, just maybe, a lot more common than you think? Today, we're going to dive into the ideas from Daniel Smith's book, Banned Mind Control Techniques Unleashed, and really try to separate the facts from the fiction.
So let's just get right to it. Brainwashing, hypnosis, manipulation. They feel like movie tropes, right? But the big question, the one we're all wondering, is what's the real story here? Can someone actually take control of your thoughts?
Yeah, what's so fascinating about this book is that it doesn't treat these as just separate, sensational ideas. Instead, it puts them all on a spectrum of influence. Think of it like a scale. On one end, you have the most extreme, intense forms imaginable. And on the other, well, that's where you find the subtle pressures that, let's be honest, we all face pretty much every single day.
Okay, so let's start at the most extreme end of that spectrum. We're talking about the one that really captures our imagination, and maybe our fears the most, brainwashing.
The book makes a really critical distinction right here. This is not just about changing someone's mind about, say, their favorite sports team. No, true brainwashing is a total system overhaul. It's like wiping a computer's hard drive and installing a completely new operating system, replacing someone's entire belief system from their core values to their deepest ideals.
And this is the key that unlocks the whole thing. The reason real, honest-to-goodness brainwashing is so incredibly rare is that it has one absolute, non-negotiable requirement: total isolation. You have to cut someone off from everything and everyone they've ever known. The book is crystal clear. Without that, the whole process just doesn't work.
And the book outlines this terrifyingly methodical three-stage process. First, you break them down. You systematically attack their identity, you make them feel guilty, vulnerable, completely lost. Then, right when they're at their absolute lowest, you offer them salvation. You present this new belief system as the only way out of all that pain. And finally, you rebuild them from scratch, creating a brand new identity based entirely on those new beliefs. It's a complete deconstruction and reconstruction of a human being.
All right, let's move a little further down the spectrum now. We're going to a form of influence that's less about force and a whole lot more about focus: hypnosis.
We all know the stereotype, right? The swinging pocket watch, somebody on stage clucking like a chicken. But the book draws a really sharp line between that Hollywood myth and the actual reality. Real hypnosis isn't about losing control at all. It's a cooperative process. It creates a state of intense, focused attention, which just makes a person more open to suggestions.
I love this quote from the book because it just nails it. It says the hypnotist isn't some all-powerful figure. They're more like a coach or a tutor, someone whose job is to help a willing person get into that focused state. So the takeaway here is really clear. You can't be hypnotized against your will. It's a team effort.
And, far from being some sinister tool, hypnosis has a huge range of positive, therapeutic uses. It's actually used in medicine to help manage everything from chronic pain and symptoms of IBS to reducing nausea for chemotherapy patients. It's a powerful tool for health and well-being.
Okay, now let's bring this all into our everyday lives. This is the part of the spectrum that we all navigate daily, that tricky line between manipulation and persuasion. And honestly, knowing the difference is crucial.
The book really defines manipulation by its intent. It's all about changing someone's behavior using deceptive, sneaky, or even abusive tactics. And the goal is always to benefit the manipulator, often at the other person's expense.
Persuasion, on the other hand, is a totally different animal. Yeah, it also aims to influence someone, but the key phrase here is an atmosphere of free choice. It relies on good arguments and emotional appeals, but it always respects a person's right to just say no. This table just breaks it down so clearly. Look at that row for choice. Manipulation is coercive. The target feels trapped, like they don't have a real option. Persuasion is non-coercive. The target is free to choose. And that right there, that's the fundamental difference that separates a healthy debate from a toxic interaction.
So, we've traveled across this entire spectrum, from the really extreme stuff all the way to the everyday. So what does it all mean for us? Well, the big takeaway is actually incredibly empowering.
The book's final message is actually pretty simple. Awareness is power. By understanding these techniques, by being able to spot them out in the wild, we take back control. Knowledge truly is your best defense against any unwanted influence.
And that leaves us with one last question to really think about. From the ads you see to the conversations you have, which of these influences do you recognize now in your own world?
Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.